There lived a man during the reign of Xerxes, the king of the vast Medo-Persian Empire, named Mordecai. His great-grandfather had been captured and deported after Nebuchadnezzar's successful attack on Jerusalem. 3 generations of Mordecai's family had grown up as exiles in Persia, yet Mordecai remained faithful to Jehovah. Mordecai was also the loving guardian of his young and beautiful cousin Esther. They lived a quiet, humble life in the capital city of Susa. Nearby at the palace, Xerxes had thrown a 6-month-long party for all of his court, which culminated with a 7-day drinking feast. When the queen refused to be paraded in front of Xerxes' drunken nobles, Xerxes banished her and undertook a 3-year search for her replacement. Esther was selected and added to Xerxes' harem. Quickly, Esther attracted Xerxes' attention and was called to the palace. Soon, she became the queen. But Mordecai had commanded his cousin Esther to keep her nationality a secret. Worried, Mordecai sat daily at the palace gate to listen for news of her. One day while he waited there, he overheard 2 officers plotting to assassinate the king. Mordecai sent word to Esther, who reported the plot to the king. The guilty officers were hanged. However, the palace did not acknowledge Mordecai's assistance. Mordecai did not hide his own nationality or his faith. He lived and spoke what he believed. When the king's highest nobleman, Haman, demanded that Mordecai kneel to honor him, Mordecai informed him that he would only bow to Jehovah. So Haman hatched a plan to exterminate the entire Jewish population and persuaded Xerxes to sign the plan into law. Haman began building gallows for Mordecai's death. When Mordecai learned of the king's edict, he sent a message to Esther telling her to reveal her identity to the king and beg for the safety of the Jewish people. Esther reminded Mordecai that she could not approach the king without his permission. Defying this law could result in her death. But Mordecai reminded her, "If you remain silent at this time, relief and deliverance for the Jews will arise from another place, but you and your father's family will perish. And who knows but that you have come to royal position for such a time as this." Mordecai's words gave Esther courage. She told him to gather the Jews in the city to fast and pray with her for 3 days, after which she would approach the king. When Esther entered the throne room, Xerxes received her gladly. She merely invited him and Haman to a banquet. They enjoyed their dinner together, but Esther did not mention the edict. Instead, she invited them to another banquet the following day. That night, when Xerxes couldn't sleep, he requested a reading from the book of the Chronicles of his kingdom. When his servant read about the foiled assassination plot, Xerxes decided to honor the informant with a parade. He chose Haman to lead Mordecai, dressed in the king's robes, through the streets on the king's horse. Haman was commanded to announce, "This is what will happen to the man whom the king delights in." Haman was even more incensed against the Jews, and he was eager for the day when his planned genocide would wipe out Mordecai and his people. But when Haman attended the second banquet with the queen, he realized his future would not bring about the desired results. This time, Esther stood boldly before the king and pleaded for her life. She cited Haman as the perpetrator of the crime against her and her people. Enraged, Xerxes hanged Haman on the gallows intended for Mordecai. He placed Mordecai in Haman's position and gave him Haman's estate. Then Xerxes signed a new edict into law that stated any Jew who was attacked according to Haman's decree could defend himself against his attackers. That day, the Jews killed their enemies, and the Israelite people celebrated the first Purim festival, a Jewish holiday that still continues today.